The Zaghawa are an ethnic group of eastern Chad and western Sudan, including Darfur. They have their own language, which is also called Zaghawa, and the breed of sheep that they herd is called Zaghawa by the Arabs. They are semi-nomadic and obtain much of their livelihood through herding cattle, camels and sheep and harvesting wild grains. It has been estimated that there are between 75,000 and 350,000 Zaghawa. Names: the Canaanite royal history, the Gergam, refers to the Zaghawa people as the Dugua. Today, Zaghawa refer to themselves as the Beri, while the name Zaghawa comes from the nearby Arab peoples and became better known. History: the Zaghawa are first mentioned in Arabic language texts. The Arab geographer Al-Ya'ub, in a description written around 890, spoke of them as the Aoe Zaghawa who live in a place called Canaan, and proceeded to list a string of other kingdoms under Zaghawa rule which cannot be identified for sure, but make it clear that they had some sort of hegemony over most of the smaller complex societies that stretched from at least Lake Chad to the Christian Nile Valley kingdoms of Nubia, Makuria and Ulwa. Ya'ub also mentioned that the Zaghawa sold slaves to the north. Al-Ya'ub and other early accounts make the Zaghawa to be nomadic, and it appears that their hegemony over this region was not unlike the sort of loose rule that nomadic culture sometimes exercised over settled populations elsewhere in the world. Zaghawa overall continued for a considerable period. The geography of the region given by Al-Idrisi in 1154 and Yacht in 1220 also reveal an oasis-centered system of Zaghawa power, and includes the two main towns of Kanem, Manen and Anjimi. Al-Idrisi is first to provide anything like a detailed geography. Ibn Zayd, however, writing in 1270, provides a new geography showing that Kanem at the very least had become independent, and research by German scholar Dirk Lang studying the Gergam or Diwan of Kanem, argue that the change in sovereignty is correlated with changes in the origins of the wives of the rulers, moving from northern clans, presumably associated with the Zaghawa, to a single southern lineage. This transformation and Ibn Said's contemporary evidence both suggest that the power of the Zaghawa was broken, probably in the reign of Kanem's ruler Dunama Dibalami. Although Zaghawa power was broken by the rise of Kanem in the Lake Chad region, Zaghawa retained control over a considerable portion of the lands lying east of Kanem, and it is only in the late 14th century that Darfur is mentioned as an independent state by the Egyptian historian and geographer Makrizi. Following the rise of Darfur and Kanem, the Zaghawa appear to have controlled only desert areas and ceased to be a major regional power. Recent history While they are not very powerful in Sudan, they politically dominate Chad. The current president, Idris Dar, copyright by on several former prime ministers of Chad al-Zaghawa, as well as many other members of the government. Thus the Chadian Zaghawa are among the richest and most influential people of Chad. However, in Sudan, the Zaghawa are caught up in the Darfur crisis, and have suffered much loss from the troubles there. The Zaghawa of Sudan are among the peoples living in the refugee camps in Darfur and eastern Chad, where the recruitment of child soldiers into rebel movements is an ongoing problem. The Zaghawa have been among the tribes in Darfur who have been referred to as African, even as other tribes that have fought with them have been called Arab. As a result of Tijani Muslim missionaries from West Africa who were traveling through their area to make the pilgrimage to Mecca, the leadership converted to Islam. In the 1940s, the Zaghawa began to turn to Islam from animism en masse. In Darfur, the Zaghawa are well known for their piety. Due to the fighting in Darfur, where they are targeted by local Arab militia due to their ethnic heritage, 100,000 have become refugees across the border in Chad. A Zaghawa tribesman named Dudhari wrote a memoir about Darfur called The Translator, and a Zaghawa woman named Dr. Halima Bashir co-authored a memoir with Damian Lewis called Tears of the Desert, which both spread knowledge about the atrocities in Darfur. In 2000, an alphabet based on livestock brands was created for the Zaghawa language. Notes. External links: African people, Al Jazeera English video on the Zaghawa people of Chad.